Hello. How we doing? Just getting myself set up here. All right. Just waiting for some people to arrive, and then we'll be all set. I'm anxious to see what some people thought of what happened this week in wrestling. Uh, I decided to do a live stream because I'm having a hard time uploading videos. So I thought I would do a live stream. Something's wrong with my program. Every time I go to sign into YouTube to upload the video I made, it crashes and will not load the page for YouTube. So I cannot upload it onto YouTube. I have to figure out what's going on with it. Uh, I tried all the usual things, rebooting, closing it down, using another program for it because we have two different versions of the program that we use to do our videos. So I tried doing the old one and that still didn't work. So I think I'm running a virus scan now. I'm going to run it overnight, see, because it was working fine. I uploaded my NXT takeover video, fine, no problem. And then I went to upload the old school Raw video that I said I had, and it wouldn't load. And I thought maybe I'll try another talking one with just pictures. Maybe it was too much video, but nope, that still didn't work. It still crashes. So like I said, I'm running a virus scan now. Uh, see if that helps any, but I don't know if it will or not. We will have to see. Hello, James. How are you? I forgot to pop out my chat. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Put that in there. But yeah, so I reloaded. I redid my virus software. And like I said, I'm going to run a scan overnight. I already did the malware scan. There's nothing detected by the malware. So I'll have to see if there's some type of virus. Like I said, it was working fine. I had no issues. And then all of a sudden, Wednesday night, I think it was, I went to upload the raw one and it just was not working. It was not liking me. But so I'm anxious to see if Monica comes tonight because she loves the Bellas. Hello, Dreams Place. How are you? Thank you for coming. I was just saying, Monica, a friend of mine, loves the Bellas. So she doesn't watch wrestling, but she watches Totally Bella or Totally Bellas or something like that, and Total Divas. And she really likes the Bella twins. But like I said, she doesn't watch wrestling. So I thought I would tell her that they were entering them into the Hall of Fame. Dreams Place, I don't know if you know or not, but that's my husband, Jimmy C and Friends. I think I got you from him anyway, so you probably do know, but I am doing good. I'm glad you're doing good. Did you have a good week? Yes, they both have cute baby bumps. They announced a couple of weeks ago that they were both pregnant, which I was kind of excited about because um which Nikki Bella, who's the one that's only engaged, she's been wanting children, and she was with John Cena forever, and he didn't want children, which is part of the reason they didn't get married. Um, and she was worried that she was getting too old to have children. And I think I don't know if she ever did, but I think she was going to freeze some of her eggs when she was like in her late 20s, early 30s, just to make sure if she ever did decide to have kids, she would have viable eggs. I don't know if she ever did that, or maybe she did do it and this just happened naturally. But so I'm kind of excited for her. And this is Bree's second child. So that's good. Did you watch SmackDown? They had Bree's husband and her daughter on the show when they announced them. I'm glad too. I know she really wanted children. Um, that's like all she talked about was and she always talked about them getting pregnant at the same time because they're twins. So I thought it was kind of cool. That was cute when they brought them out. Um, but yeah, I thought it was kind of cool, and they said that they didn't plan it that way. Bree found out. Bree thought she was pregnant. She said, and it took her a while to do the test because she kept convincing herself she wasn't. But she was like, I kind of thought I was because I felt similar to when I had Birdie. So I thought it was cute that she got what she wanted. Hello, my sister Donna. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate the love. I was just thinking about you, Donna, because I have your shawl on my desk in case I get chilly. Yes, yes. There's been a couple of bumpy spots, but I'm doing pretty good. I do. I love it. Love that shawl. But yeah, like I said the other day, I can't really complain. It hasn't been as bad as I was expecting it to be, as bad as like they said it would be. I mean, I know I'm still early in the recovery, and the so far the physical therapy I've had is just stretching to get my range of motion back. They said that they do that first because if they don't, then they have a hard time moving the knee. So that's the first thing they do. Tomorrow, I start the actual physical part, like the strengthening. So I'm expecting to be in a little bit more pain starting tomorrow, but that's all right. We'll deal with it. But yes, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you, sister. But yeah, we were talking about wrestling. I know you don't watch wrestling. So, did you go to Lisa's live stream last night for the raising of the money? Did they do okay? Oh, yeah, I was in a little bit of pain yesterday, so I ended up just staying in my recliner. Because when I sit in the office, sometimes it wears on my knee because it's not as straight. The chair I'm sitting in is like a camping recliner that we use, and we got it a few years ago. I had neck surgery, and I could only sleep in a recliner. So we got these chairs. They're like gravity recliners. So I brought this in here so that way when I'm on, I can recline if I need to. All right, you've had an ear infection for a while, right? Oh, nice. I'm glad Dreams Place. I love my network. That's what keeps me when I can't sleep at night. That's what I do. I watch like older episodes of both WCW and WWE, and sometimes having it on in the background helps me fall asleep. So when I can't sleep, that's what I do. Oh, Donna, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. Have they tried stronger antibiotics? They may want to, I don't know if, I don't think they like to do tubes in adults, but oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, and the ear is something you don't want to mess with. That's especially like where you already have hearing problems. That's like with Jimmy, whenever his ears bother him. Oh, okay. Yeah, whenever Jimmy's ears bother him because he's also hard of hearing, I usually don't like wait long to get him into a doctor just because I know if it goes too long, it can affect the hearing or what little hearing that you have. Like with him, he can only hear partially from one ear. So, but yeah, I hear you. I would be frustrated and worried too. Yeah. Hello, Cafe Enlightened. Thanks for coming. Are you a wrestling fan or? Yeah, sometimes that's better, especially like if it's hearing, because your primary doctor is really not going to know much. Oh, cool. Cool, cool. So usually I don't do a stream all the time. I do mostly videos, but I've been having a hard time uploading videos. I've been trying to do a live stream like every other week, but because I did one last Sunday, but because this week my program was messed up that I upload my videos on, um, I decided I would do a live stream tonight. Donna, I know you know some of the older guys, and I know a lot of the people that subscribe to me, like some of Jimmy's friends, also watched wrestling years and years ago, which is part of the reason why I started uploading the old school videos, the old school little clips, because I thought more people might like those. Because if you don't know the wrestlers now, you might know the wrestlers then, and maybe bring back some memories. Yes. As a matter of fact, I was just telling them, um, I've been watching some old school WCW videos because I had surgery, so I'm out of work. So I sometimes have a hard time sleeping at night because I don't do anything all day. Um, so I have the WWE network. So sometimes I'll play that and it'll help me sleep. And I was just telling them that I've been watching old WCW videos. So the Four Horsemen, yes, NWO for life. But yeah, right. The episodes I've been watching was around 97. Um, they only go back to like 96. They haven't uploaded anything before that yet. I think they're going to. Like they started with more recent stuff first, and then they're slowly going back. They must have to like upload them, and I'm sure they have to change the templates they have them on. That's cool, Dreams Place. I started watching wrestling with my dad when I was about 5 or 6 years old. So probably like 79, 80. Um, and I've been watching ever since. I just can't get away from it. It was my father's job to keep us busy on Saturdays because that's when my mother cleaned the house. And that's how he kept us busy. We would watch wrestling all morning on Saturdays, and then we would watch the Creature double feature in the afternoon. So he basically had us watching TV in our living room from like 8 o'clock in the morning till like 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon. But yeah, so the live streams that we go on, that's what we do. We talk about other stuff too, but like we talk about old wrestlers and old uh, storylines and how it was then and how it is now. It was so much better back then. Didn't really have to worry about offending anyone or keeping it PG, or so they could basically do whatever they wanted. Um, so I just feel like it was a lot better back then. Now it's more drama, which isn't bad, but there's some of the stories they come up with are just stupid, and it kills me. Like right now, they have a storyline going on with Seth Rollins, and he's kind of building a following of disciples. If you watch wrestling now, you know what I'm talking about. And he started a rivalry with another wrestler who's trying to get him to stop with the whole preaching thing, and because he's saying he's got to change the way the wrestling is. And yes, Dreams Place, the Monday Night Messiah. Yes. So I just feel like they're not like moving that storyline forward. It's like the past month we've had the same main events, which has been them, but every week it's the same exact thing. It ends the same way. And I thought it was kind of peculiar this week that they added the Street Profits into the storyline, who had absolutely nothing to do with it from the beginning. And I just thought it was odd that they had them, of all people, come and help Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders. I just thought, why would they do that? Why would they just throw in guys that had absolutely nothing to do with the storyline? They didn't even slowly work them in, like having little backstage segments with them. They didn't do any of that. And then like Samoa Joe just kind of disappeared from the whole storyline. So it's like, how is that going to work? Are they getting another disciple for the Monday Night Messiah? Because now there's 5 on Kevin Owens' side, and there's only 4 on the Monday Night Messiah side. So it's like, how is that going to work? But it's like, I just feel like they need to change it up a little bit. Like maybe add another disciple or have the match be a little bit different. I get frustrated when they do the same thing week after week, and it's like that old saying that Larry Zabisco used to say, you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. But yeah, so the WCW videos that I've been watching, I'm at the stage where um, Ric Flair disbands the Four Horsemen. Of course, I've watched them all when they were live too, so I just go back every now and then and rewatch them. But and he starts a war with Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, because he became a Four Horseman and betrayed them. And the NWO is getting bigger and attacking everybody and attacking the authority figures. And is that still what he's out for? I know that he got injured, that they said he got injured. I wasn't sure because he came back after that. Like he came back, I thought, like a week or two later. And then like this week he wasn't there. But and then I thought it was weird the whole Becky Lynch and Baszler thing where they had Baszler bite her. But it was funny. I was sitting there thinking, please don't tell me that they're going to try and do a vampire angle. Please. Oh, okay. Yeah, that usually I watch all the or read all the news things or watch the videos, and I haven't had a chance to. I was telling Donna I have been camping out in my recliner in my living room, um, because I had surgery on my knee, and it started really bothering me yesterday. And when I sit in the office, I have to sit up, and sometimes that aggravates my knee. So I took yesterday off from sitting in the office and just stayed in my recliner. And my laptop is acting peculiar. We just gave it to our friend who builds computers to see if he could fix it. So I've kind of been out of sorts. I know. I know. Is it? I thought the same thing, especially when Jerry Lawler was like, "What is Shayna Baszler, a vampire?" And I'm like, "Oh no, they really had him say it. I can't believe the words actually came out of his mouth." But it was just weird. I'm like, why would they like just throw that in there? And the way they went about it was just weird. Like the whole thing was weird. Like the way they treated it, like she was gushing blood, but the only blood you saw was on Baszler's mouth and Becky Lynch's hands. Like there was no blood in the ring. There was no blood like in her hair. So it was like how they were acting wasn't matching what we were seeing. So I was just like, well, whoever's job it was to make it look like a bloody scene didn't do a very good job. But I was very happy that they finally had Aleister Black and Eric Rowan actually have a competitive fight with someone. I know they've been doing it with Aleister Black. Right, right, exactly. That's why I just think that like they didn't do it right. They like if you're gonna go there, at least go all the way. Don't like kind of mix and match. But yeah, I just some of the storylines they've had lately, I don't get. And some of the wrestlers like Eric Rowan, I just thought they weren't using him properly, and that whole cage thing is just crazy. And it was funny because last week when Aleister Black talked and said that he's going to be like he feels like a cage animal in a cage, the first thing I thought of was a rivalry with Eric Rowan. So I thought it was kind of funny that this week they had a match. And it was actually a pretty good match. I think that was the best match out of all the ones that were on Raw. But yeah, that whole bite thing, I just don't understand. So yeah, I'm almost thinking that they're gonna have another disciple for the Messiah. They must if they're going to keep the Street Profits. Okay, sounds good. I know we just finished dinner. I was like, I want to eat before I start the stream, but that is fine. But yeah. So I hope that they keep Eric Rowan with Aleister Black. I think they could do a pretty good storyline together because they're like pretty much the same capability and the same size. And I think they could do it would be almost like the Aleister Black Buddy Murphy series, which I don't that's that's part of what I'm talking about. They had them in a really good storyline. They were doing really good matches. Yes, I was getting kind of tired of seeing the two of them week after week because they wrestled 3 weeks in a row. But at least they had Aleister Black fighting somebody that could fight back, and he wasn't doing squash matches. Yes, Kevin Nash would still be a beast gamer. And welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. I was actually just talking about, well, about the NWO. because I've been watching some of the old videos on the network of WCW, and I'm in the NWO era. I'm surprised they haven't brought Kevin Nash back. I don't know if, because he's not much older than Triple H, and he's definitely younger than Undertaker. He's probably like in his late 30s, early 40s. So I think he could do a little bit more matches and still, because I'm sure he's, the times that they've shown him that he has been on, he's looks like he's still in shape. But the old school Raw video that I tried uploading the other day was, he was in that in WWE when he was Diesel, back when Shawn Michaels was having his rivalry with Razor Ramon over the Intercontinental Championship. And I was kind of bummed when I couldn't upload it. I was like, man. But yeah, it was him, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, um, Six Pac, which at the time was the 1-2-3 Kid. It was actually the show that we had been talking about, I think, on my first live stream when Gorilla Monsoon threw Bobby Heenan out of the arena by his shorts and kicked him in the butt, threw all his luggage out. I went back as far as I could, and I was saying that on the network, they've only gone back to, on WWE, they've gone back a little bit further. I think 87, I want to say, they went back to so far on the WWE one. Nice. His veiny muscles. I know he was on one of the NWA videos that I uploaded, and it's him like current day. Oh my god, he looks so sad because obviously he stopped doing the steroids, and now he's like all this extra skin because he didn't keep working out, and he must have stopped the steroids. And but he's in sad shape now. Mr. Steiner is. But yeah, Kevin Nash was a big guy. I never saw him in person up close. I did go to wrestling events where he was at, and same thing, I was at like a far distance, and he was so much taller than everybody else. And then you had the Giant, who still now is the Big Show. So, who did anybody watch Raw this past Monday and see Randy Orton with Matt Hardy and see him attack him again? Who do you think is going to come back first to get revenge, Christian or Jeff Hardy? I know Edge will come back, but they'll probably save that for like WrestleMania. Originally, I was thinking that Christian was going to come back to get revenge for Edge, but then when he attacked Hardy 2 weeks in a row, and basically this is going to be Matt Hardy's last thing with the WWE because his contract is up in March, I think. So they pretty much just wrote him off until the end of his contract. He's got a thing going on Twitter like the Revival does. It's a free the delete. Yeah. I still watch it. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to back then, but I find it hard not to watch. I still like it, but like I said, it's not, I don't find it as good as it was back then. I definitely liked the Attitude Era and NWO era much better. It's funny, the other day I was watching an old WCW video, and I just sat there thinking, I wonder what would have happened if it was reversed. If, not that I ever thought they would, but if WWE ever went out of business and WCW kept going, I wonder if it would be the same thing. Because I think that's part of the reason WWE became lamer, is because they had no competition. So they could basically do whatever they wanted. So their storylines just started to get ridiculous, and that's the only thing that I hate about it is it's they don't there's so many pay-per-views now that they don't do build-ups on their storylines anymore. So it's like the storylines come and go so quickly, and it's like, really? Why? What happened? It was just starting to get good. But I think that's why it is the way it is now, is because they really have no competition. They have no one to keep up with. I mean, now they have the AEW, but it's going to be a while before AEW really competes with them. I've watched a little bit of the AEW. I usually watch it. I'm not as hello, Shane Dog. Welcome, welcome. Yes, we were just talking about NWO. There's the link if anybody would like to join. I know Dreams Place said she would join after dinner. But yeah, I definitely liked it better back then. I was just saying now the storylines are so much lamer. They don't last as long. There's no build up. It's like just when they're starting to get good, they're over. But yeah, like the Hardy Boys rivalry with the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian. That was when it, and the NWO and the Click and DX. That's when it was like really good. Like there was really. All right, that's fine, Gamer. I appreciate you lingering. But yeah, I kind of wish that they would go back to that type of thing. I know they won't because in today's society, they can't. There's like too many people to offend, or everything's going to be politically correct. That's all right, Donna. I appreciate you lurking too. So, how was everybody's weekend? Anybody do anything fun? But yeah, Shane, I was saying that when I have the WWE network, so sometimes I'll go back, which is what I'm doing now because I'm out of work because of my surgery. I've been watching some of the old videos. I know, I know. Unfortunately, I'm on crutches because of my knee surgery, so I don't want to. I thought about buying tickets, but I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. It was aggravating me a little bit yesterday. So I kind of just hung out in the recliner, which is why I was watching some of the old wrestling videos because there was really nothing else to watch. So I spent the day watching old WCW videos with the NWO, and Jimmy is. He helps out a lot. Joseph Grohl. Woo! Yes, yes. This came in. I ordered three or four of them, and this is the first one that came in. So Jimmy hung it up for me. Hello, South Carolina born. How are you? So yeah, I got some more swag that'll be coming in. I love the network, Shane. I think it's worth it. I like some of even the non-wrestling programs that they have. I like those. Some of those I watch a lot. Nice. I've never been to Mania. Way back when, like when it first started, one of the first couple of years, I think it was Survivor Series that came to Lowell when I lived in Lowell when I was a kid. But my parents were like, hell no, we're not buying those tickets. So yeah, I watch like when like yesterday where I was kind of in pain, so I stayed in my recliner. I watched a lot of old WCW videos, and I know, I know, and I'm almost wondering like she's almost playing it off like she didn't mean to. I think either DeVille sent the text message or Ziggler sent the text message because when Tucker said to her, "Why did you text him?" Either either she was a good actress playing it off, but she acted like she didn't know what he was talking about a text. And um, what's her face? Freaking DeVille was real quick to be like, "Oh, he's just sticking up for his buddy. Don't worry about it." Ziggler's more your type anyway. That's what I think too, South Carolina born. Because he knew where they were. He showed up at the restaurant. Yep, Haystacks Calhoun. I remember him. It probably is Ziggler. South Carolina. agrees that she thinks it was Ziggler. Because how else would he know exactly what restaurant they were going to? Unless he was somehow intercepting or listening in on their conversations, because he showed up at the restaurant and delayed, or what we think delayed Otis in arriving by texting him saying that she was running late so he could get there first. Oh, I'm sure that's going to end up happening. Him and Otis will end up having a match. Exactly. Exactly. Like he knew she was waiting for a ride. Or that's how it seemed to me. And she was on her phone. Yes, gamer, it is kind of stupid. It's all kind of stupid now. Some of their storylines are just stupid. Most of their storylines are stupid now. That's what I was saying. Like, I feel like it's gotten like that because they have no competition. So they don't have to keep people interested. They don't have to keep people intrigued. Because people that really like wrestling, up until AEW came out, they had nothing else to watch. Yes, South Carolina born. Being stupid does make us watch the drama. It's like a bad car accident. You can't help but watch. Or like the reality shows that you know are scripted, you still watch. You can't help yourself but watch. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like I literally every Monday and Friday and now Wednesday with um NXT, I either record it or I watch it. If I record it, I watch it the next day, depending on if I'm working when it's on or not. And then that's part of the reason I got the network was because of for all the pay-per-views. Because they just all got so outrageously priced. I'd rather pay $10 a month than me neither, Shane. Me neither. Oh, I know that was awesome. I love how SmackDown ended. The Fiend had no idea what to do. Because even the announcers were like, Goldberg hit first. That's never happened. I'm just hoping that they don't make it so like the Fiend completely devastates Goldberg next week. Because their match is on Thursday um, in Saudi Arabia, and Bailey's gonna defend her title against what's her face? Trinity. I can always remember her real name. I can never remember her screen name. So it's going to be that match. So that's the women's match, is the Bailey one. Naomi, that's who it is. I know, Shane. I'm actually glad that I'm out of work because I'll get to watch it like live instead of having to watch it when I get home from work. But sometimes I like watching it after it already starts because then, like, you can fast forward through something if you don't want to watch that. Not that I do with the WWE, but with the wrestling stuff. I know, but Goldberg was the first one to strike the Fiend first. Instead of the Fiend hitting him first, Goldberg was able to spear him before the Fiend could do anything. Yeah, Kane was the other person that said, "What took you so long?" So where do you think they're going with that dude with Daniel Bryan? Um, I can't think of it. Gallic, Guliak. That's who it is. Guliak. Like where he's trying to critique Daniel Bryan's wrestling. Yes. Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown, back when Daniel Bryan was in a rivalry with The Fiend. They set The Fiend up. Joseph, what did you think about the yeah, Slater? Hopefully he works with Slater and makes Slater a better wrestler so they use Slater more. I think Heath Slater is pretty funny. I got kids, man. Yeah, Drew Gallic. Gallic. Guliak. What do you think of the whole Randy Orton Matt Hardy thing, Joseph? Who do you think is going to come back first to get revenge, Christian or Jeff Hardy? I don't even know if Jeff Hardy's legal shit's done yet, but Joseph, there's a link if you would like to come up. I know you don't always like to be on panel. I think he would be good on 205 Live too. Just because he's a smaller guy, I think he would be better with the cruiserweights. It's a shame that Rhino isn't still there because they were a pretty good team. They had Heath Slater's speed and Rhino's power, and they made a good comedic tag team. You gonna come up? No? No, I thought Thomas was gonna come up. No, he just wanted to stab Mama. That's all he wanted to do. Yeah, it was. The gore! The gore! The gore, Tilly! What? Oh, okay. Yeah, it is. At first, I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know why Sami Zayn can't wrestle right now. Did he get hurt? But it seems like he doesn't really. Usually, when they do something like that, it's with a wrestler that has a long injury. Yeah, Edge's spear was good. I think because Rhino was a little thicker, I think his gore had a little bit more oomph to it. Although Edge's was good. Edge did a good because Edge was fast with it and could do it out of anywhere. I don't know why they wouldn't now that Sheamus is back. I don't know why they wouldn't put him back with Cesaro because they were a good tag team. But now they have Cesaro with Nakamura and Sami Zayn, and I don't see Sheamus going into that whole group. And who do you think Sheamus is going to take on next? He said it was going to be a big person. No, Gamer, it won't. I like Cesaro too. I just don't like the storyline they have him in. I agree with South Carolina born. I think that whole group is weird. The Sami Zayn, Nakamura, Cesaro. It's almost like remember they had the Un-Americans where it was Cesaro, Sheamus, um, the Indian guy, and who else was there? There was one other person there. Oh, the Mexican dude. I like John Cena. I think he's gonna become like The Rock, where he's only gonna show up when he has a new movie coming out. That seems to be the only time The Rock comes back to wrestling is when he's got a new movie coming out that he wants to promote. And rumor has it that John Cena's match at Mania is going to be with Elias again. I'm so hoping that's not true because it was just stupid. They did that last year, and I think they did it the year before too. Maybe not, but I know they did it last year, where they basically had Cena squash Elias. And I thought that Elias and Braun Strowman being in a tag team, I thought that was kind of cool because it's kind of funny. Go tell Daddy. Sorry, Tilly's growling at me. She hasn't gotten the concept yet that I can't take her out because normally when I'm home, she just automatically comes to me to take her out. It would be if they did a build up. I think that's why it was so stupid last year. They didn't do a build up, and they had Cena just basically walk into the ring when Elias was there, and it was like a spontaneous match, and Cena basically like killed him in like 2 seconds flat. I mean, I think it would be good because they have been using Elias more, and I do like Elias because they have been using him in a bigger aspect. So I think if they did a little bit of a build up with it, I think it would be interesting and it would be a good match. So I think if they did it differently, it wouldn't be so bad. I'm just hoping they don't do it the same exact way they did last year. And then another rumor is that um, AJ Styles is going to be the Undertaker's opponent at WrestleMania, which I don't know how I feel about that one. It would be a good match, but like other than AJ Styles mentioning the Undertaker's name the other day, oh cool, cool. And you don't have the network, right, Joseph? So you wouldn't be able to watch it. If I get my program fixed, I'll do a video of it and put it up, or I'll try to at least do something. Um, I don't know. Um, Apparently Rusev is back. Hello, Custom Wheel Horse Tractor. Welcome. I know that they were in a contract dispute with Rusev, which is why they took him off TV, but he was on Raw Monday. So apparently that looks like it was resolved. I feel the same way, Joseph. I just think it's getting too stupid, especially where they haven't the same thing, like they haven't expanded on it, they haven't added anything to it. They added Liv to it for what, a week, and now she's going to be in a storyline with, oh, so you'll be able to watch it when you get home. That's good. But yeah, the way that they were doing it, I was getting sick of it because it's just like it's been done. So welcome to the stream, Horse Tractor. Eric 83. Thanks for coming. So yeah, like the Braun and Elias thing, I almost hope that they do something good with that because that was a good match for them, I think. I think like I kind of like the teams they put together that kind of have different affects, like one's funny and one's powerful and or mean, or so that way like they kind of work off each other. So you get the comedy effect. Yes, South Carolina born. She showed up at the NXT Takeover Portland and attacked Rhea Ripley after Rhea Ripley defeated um, Belair. And then Belair called out Flair on NXT this week. Yeah, I thought the way they did that was kind of cool. She kind of attacked her and then picked up the microphone and was like, "So, I've thought about it, and I'll see you at Mania." Yes, Edge returned at the Rumble, but he got attacked by Randy Orton the day after the Rumble. So he's out again, but he does have a contract. So I believe that is going to be a Mania match, Edge and Randy Orton. Joseph, I don't know. We were just talking about that. There's a couple of rumors going around that they're going to have Cena and Elias again. The Charlotte Flair match, yeah, that will be a good match. Either one of them, with Rhea Ripley or with Belair. But yeah, Belair called Charlotte out on NXT this week because after she attacked Rhea Ripley and told Rhea Ripley she'd see her at Mania, she attacked Belair because of the double team they did on her on NXT that week. So yeah, Belair called her out this week. So we'll have to see what happens there. Charlotte wasn't on NXT this week, so they didn't have her answer the challenge or anything. That's what I originally thought, and apparently after Takeover Portland, like Triple H usually does a Facebook Live, and he talks about the event. And apparently they asked him about the storyline, and he said, "All I'm gonna say is Belair is not out of it yet. She will have more parts in it." So I'm thinking that it could still possibly turn into a triple threat because there is still time before Mania. Mania isn't till the beginning of April, so we still have a whole nother month. So, because originally I did think it was going to be a triple threat. So it could still be a triple threat, which the past couple of Manias, they have had triple threat women's championship matches. So that could be, if they keep that going, that could be the triple threat. Or it could end up, maybe they'll save that for a NXT takeover after Mania or even before Mania. Nope. Uh, actually, I don't know if I don't think there's another takeover before Mania. If there is, it's going to be that weekend because usually they have a NXT takeover the weekend of one of the big WWE pay-per-views like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. Usually there's an NXT takeover that weekend on Saturday. So I'm thinking there's still time for it to be a triple threat at WrestleMania, or they could do a triple threat after Mania. Like if Charlotte wins the title, I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is Becky's going to retain the title against Asuka, and then she's going to go to WrestleMania and she's going to face Baszler. It's either going to be Baszler or it's going to be Ronda Rousey, because I believe Ronda Rousey is going to return at Mania. So she's going to have something to do with Becky Lynch at Mania. She'll either interfere in the match with Baszler and cause Baszler to win the title, or she's going to go against Becky Lynch. But I think it's going to be Baszler. I think Baszler is going to win the chamber match and go on to face Becky Lynch at Mania, because they've already made a point of everything in the elimination chamber favors Baszler. It's a cage, it's an octagon, it's basically everything MMA is. So it all favors Baszler. So that's why I think, plus they've already kind of started working on that storyline. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be Baszler facing Becky at Mania. And I think, like I said, I think Ronda Rousey is going to affect the outcome of the match. And that's going to start a war with Becky and Ronda Rousey. I still think it would be cool for them to do a women's Four Horsemen, because in NXT, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Sasha were known as the Four Horsewomen. But in MMA, it was Ronda Rousey, Baszler, and the other two chicks that hang out with Baszler on NXT. So I thought it would be really cool if they had the two Four Horsewomen groups go against each other. But now Sasha's gone, because I don't think Sasha's coming back. So unless they just do the Ronda Rousey Four Horsemen one and have them kind of like try and like dominate the women's locker room. But I think it would be cool if they did something like that. But I think if they did, they would have to include Flair. They would have to include Charlotte Flair. Like, I don't think it wouldn't be right if they did it without Charlotte Flair. So I think, because I don't know if Jeff Hardy's legal problems are done yet, so I think Christian is going to end up coming and starting a little rivalry with Randy Orton, just to keep that storyline going until Edge returns. And like, they'll probably have like Randy Orton hurt Christian, and then Edge comes back at Mania to like beat Randy Orton. These are just my thoughts. I don't know if it will really come true, but we could always hope. That's what they need. They need to hire a bunch of like us wrestling fans as their writers. No, I don't know how to write for TV, but I know what's cool in wrestling. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, I think because his ratings are going down, he's like all of these current superstars want out. They want to go to AEW, which is going to build up his competition. He doesn't want to do another war like he did with WCW. So I think he's trying to bring back people from the Attitude Era to try and get people more involved. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny when, because I like Drew McIntyre, and I thought it was pretty funny when he said that Suplex City was in Claymore County or Claymore Country. I think he said country. I think that Drew has a good chance of beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And there's no way that Ricochet is going to beat Brock Lesnar on Thursday. But yeah, yeah, I think that Vince is worried about AEW and all their stars leaving because their stocks are going down. They're they have like executives leaving, which to me I don't think has anything to do with the show itself because they have nothing to do with the show. I don't think like they're not like writers, but so yeah, I think he's worried, and I think that's why he's bringing back people. Like, and I think it would be cool. Speaking of old stars and the Four Horsemen, if Charlotte Flair made a girls Four Horsemen, and hey, Captain Jerk, bye, Captain Jerk, thanks for coming. If Charlotte Flair made a women's Four Horsemen and Ric Flair managed them, that would be cool. But yeah, I really think that they should. It doesn't even have to be a women's Four Horseman. It could be a men's Four Horseman. I just think it would be a girls' Four Horseman because of Charlotte Flair. And because they were called the Four Horse Women in NXT, which is why I'm surprised they didn't bring them over to WWE like that because they all came over besides Bayley. The other three came over at the same time. Oh no, Sasha came over with after Flair and Becky. Got a little captain in you. So captains run. But yeah, I think they should do something like that. I think that would be cool. And then they would be under the tutelage of the dirtiest player in the game. And he would just make it even cooler. I don't know if they would do that though, because I think he's had a lot of health problems lately. So I don't know if his health would be up to it. But they could always try and steal Arn Anderson from AEW and have him come and tutelage the Four Horsewomen. Not that he would, because he's close to the Rhodeses. Oh, I know. Tilly's talking to me. I don't know if you can hear her or not. But yeah, I just think they need something to spice up what they're doing. Like what they're doing isn't completely bad. Some of it is, but I think if they just added a little bit more to one of them, like or have Natalia make a females heart foundation and have Bret Hart be their manager, or bring back Jimmy Hart and have him manage them. And apparently, The Rock's daughter is training at the Performance Center. She's going to wrestle for WWE. Which I thought it was kind of odd. They did a little piece on her, and they said that she's the first fourth generation wrestler, and she's not. Um, she might be the first female fourth generation, but I know there's been male fourth generations. But I think it's cool that they have another daughter coming in. I'm surprised Bret Hart, one of Bret Hart's daughters, didn't go into wrestling. Not that they would go to work for Vince McMahon, but he went back, so I don't know why. If his kids wrestled, they wouldn't. I mean, because that whole family is all wrestling, or at least it was. And I know some of the kids wrestle. Like, I don't know why British Bulldog's son never stayed in WWE. He didn't last very long. He came in with Natalia and um, her husband, the Dynamite, not Dynamite Kid, Tyson Kid, and he kind of dwindled and went out. I just think it's funny how sometimes they promote the second and third generation wrestlers, but then others they don't. Like they really don't talk about um, Tamina Snuka. I think when she first came in, they mentioned that she was Jimmy Snuka's daughter, but they don't like mention it all the time, like they do with Natalia and Charlotte. But yeah, I think there's some wrestlers that they could do with bringing back, even like recent wrestlers that they had that left. I think they could try to get back. Like, I don't know where Mickey James is. She hasn't been around in forever. I don't know. I'm assuming she's doing like a backstage type of thing for them, but she hasn't been on TV wrestling for a while. But I believe she's still on the active roster, which I find weird because she hasn't been wrestling at all. And I know her husband wrestles for the NWA, that new one that's starting back up. Yeah, they haven't even really talked about her. Like, I think it would be cool, like, if Beth Phoenix started wrestling regular again. Yeah, there are a lot. Well, and I don't even know if they're gone or if they just don't use them as much. Like with Foxy, I think she's still on the active roster. We just never see her. The only time we ever see her is when there's like a rumble or something like that. Um, Tamina was at the rumble. We haven't seen her since. I know they have Nia Jax on injury relief thing, but like Ember Moon, we don't ever see Ember Moon. She's still active, I believe. And that's the thing, like it's like they wonder why all these wrestlers want to be released, but it's like it's all wrestlers they're not using or they're not using on a regular basis. Like they just show their main stars and that's it. They don't ever show the other people or the other wrestlers except like a handful of times a year. And it's like why do they want to, and it's like I've heard that like they have to travel to the arenas whether they're wrestling or not. And it's like why do they want to do all that traveling if they're not gonna work? I wouldn't want to do all that traveling if I was just gonna stay in a motel room and or hang out in the backstage area of an arena and not be used. It's like I would ask for my release too. Or like the revival. Like the revival wants to be released because they don't feel like they're being used properly. All right, thank you for stopping by, Gamer. Exactly like Jinder Mahal. We haven't seen Jinder Mahal in forever. Ever since he lost the title, we haven't really seen him. I don't know if he's still active or not. And it's like with the whole Charlotte Flair thing. I think it's cool that she's going to fight for the NXT women's title, but they already don't have enough divas or don't use enough divas. Hello, Redneck Lifestyle. How are you? Thank you for coming. Like they already don't use enough divas. They can't even have tag defend their tag team titles because they don't have enough divas to do tag teams and still do singles competition. I am good. Thank you for asking. Welcome, welcome. So like I don't get why they're, that's fine, Dreams Place. I appreciate you just hanging out. So like they're giving up another diva or another woman when they don't have enough to do what they need to do. It's like, why did you recreate women's tag team titles if if you're not using enough women on your roster to have a good tag team division? I don't get it. Because it's like ever since the Kabuki Warriors have held the titles, they've only defended them like once. And it's like, what happened to the two Australian girls, the Iconics? We haven't seen them in forever. Last time we saw them was when they did the women's tag team elimination match to come up with the number one contenders when Bayley and Sasha won the titles. Jeff Hardy there's two things. He has a legitimate injury, and apparently while he was out on his injury, he got arrested again. He has more drug charges pending against him, which apparently he's in the middle of legal battles for that. So that's why we haven't seen him in so long. Because they don't want to bring him back, even if his injury's done, because they don't know what's going to happen with the legal stuff. And apparently they wanted to release him because of the legal stuff, but they can't release him because he had a legitimate injury, and it's like a regular person in workman's comp. If you have an injury from work, you can't lose your job. Whether or not you can work, they can't let you go. It's illegal for them to do that. So they have to wait for the legal stuff to be over, have him come back from his injury, and then they have to wait so long, and then they could get rid of him. I don't know. I'm thinking I know they were debating whether, I think they were considering dropping the charges, or they had come to an agreement on the charges and he wasn't going to have any real jail time. I believe he's supposed to be coming back soon, if that all is legitimate. Like they came up with the agreement with the prosecutors and everything. Because I believe his injury is all set. But like I said, because of the whole legal thing, they haven't. That's why they haven't brought him back. So the rumor is he will be back soon, and he may be one of the people to return to get revenge on Randy Orton for the attack on Jeff Hardy and Edge. But like I was saying earlier, I think they'll have Christian come back in the meantime, and then Jeff Hardy will return. Or if Jeff Hardy ends up being out longer than what we expect, they'll have Christian battle Randy Orton until Mania, and then Edge is going to come back at Mania. So Edge will take over the rivalry then. So Jeff Hardy is still active, but because of the whole legal thing and the injury thing, he's been out for a while. Um, so I believe there is no iron conclusion yet to his legal stuff. There's just rumors out saying that they have come to an agreement and he's really not going to serve any real jail time. I think it's just going to be like a fine and like probation or something like that. But I don't know that for sure. Like I said, it was just one of the wrestling rant pages that I read that said that. So I don't know if that's a for sure, because I know WWE hasn't released anything about his legal stuff. They just have him out for the injury. So I think that's part of the reason they're scurrying, trying to bring back other people like MVP, and because we were talking earlier about how Vince is probably nervous because of the whole AEW thing and their stocks going down, their ratings going down. They just signed a big deal with uh, Channel 25, so they have to keep up their end and keep up the ratings, or they're going to end up losing a lot of money. And then they just signed the agreement with um, Saudi Arabia. That's like a 10-year agreement, I think. And that's a lot of money that they'll lose if they don't keep up their commitment, which I think is twice a year or 3 times a year they have to go there. And apparently they bring back some of these people around the Saudi Arabia events because apparently Saudi Arabia is very behind on the wrestling. So, like a lot of people that we know of as retired or not active, they still think are active and currently wrestling. So they pressure WWE to have those superstars on their shows, which is why like Triple H wrestled, Shawn Michaels wrestled, The Undertaker and Kane, and they brought back um, Bill Goldberg for last year's, and he's coming back for this year's. So yeah, apparently like they that's part of the agreement. Like they get to choose some wrestlers who are going to wrestle on their events. Saudi Arabia does. But like I said, apparently guys that are no longer active, they want to wrestle. So it ends up costing WWE money to get those guys to come back for that one event, especially now where the last one they had so many problems with the travel, and there were a lot of wrestlers that you too, Redneck Lifestyle, thank you for coming. Um, so they a lot of wrestlers don't want to go back there because of the travel problems that they had the last time they went there. There's like a whole big debate over whether it was legitimate plane problems or if it was, some people are saying that it was Saudi Arabia because they were having a dispute with Vince McMahon. Goldberg did retire, but he came back last year to wrestle Undertaker, and then this year he's back to wrestle The Fiend. And that's what I mean. Like for the Saudi Arabia event, some wrestlers that are retired, they're having come back um, because the Saudis want to see them wrestle. So yes, Bill Goldberg legitimately retired, but like they say, I don't know if you ever heard them say this or not, but you never really retire from wrestling because they do call you back sometimes. Like they call back some of the guys for like the Rumbles or special events like Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels retired too, and he wrestled last year. So yeah, like some of the wrestlers will say just because you retire, nobody ever really retires from wrestling because they can call you back up. But yeah, so I think some of the current storylines they have going on can be really good, but I think, like, I legitimately think Vince McMahon needs to step down, which rumor has it he's going to. Um, and some people are saying because his health isn't that good. I've heard because of the whole XFL thing, he wants to focus on that because he believes that's why it failed the first time. I don't know if you know that this is the second time he's tried for the XFL thing. The first time it was a complete flunk. It didn't even go, it went a couple of weeks in a season. That was it. Um, and so I've heard that he's going to step down as in the creative aspect of WWE so he can focus on XFL. Like he'll still be the head of the company, but he won't have anything to do with the day-to-day runnings of it. Yeah. So, and some like rumor has it that Triple H will be taking over, which they do a lot of it anyway now. But apparently Vince McMahon still has like final say on the storylines and what happens in the matches. Um, but apparently that's going to stop. Um, I like Triple H better too. I think Vince McMahon is brilliant and was really good in his time, but I think right now I think he's lost the touch. I think he's lost what people want to see. Um, so I think it will be a lot better if Triple H took over. I mean, if you look at NXT, Triple H is the one that runs NXT and has final say over the NXT storylines. I think NXT right now is so much more interesting and the matches are better than the WWE main rosters. So I think it would be really good if Triple H took over. Hello, Anthony. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, so I think it would be a lot better if Triple H took over the creative aspect of it. I mean, like I said, you can still have Vince McMahon like oversee the business aspect of it, but I don't think he should have anything to do with the creative aspect of it anymore. Because, like, I've heard that, like, the writers will write a storyline and he won't like it and he'll change it at the last minute because he doesn't like the storyline the way they have it going. So I think that, and I like rumor has it that's why sometimes like the storyline will be going one way and then all of a sudden it'll veer off in a completely different way. I've heard it's because of Vince McMahon that it does that, because Vince McMahon decides he's going to change it. So I think, like I said, I mean, as much as I think he was brilliant back in his day, I don't think he has what it takes to do it anymore. I think he's too worried about, like, I think he's too worried about the stocks and everything like that. And I don't think that it should be separate. Like, I get that the whole entertainment part is what keeps their stocks, but you can't run your entertainment part by your what your stocks look like. Like that can't be your whole motive, because then you come up with stupid storylines like Rusev and Lashley. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's true and he does step down, because like I said, back in the day he was brilliant and he came up with really good stuff. But um I don't like, I think, I mean, because he's in his upper 70s now. So it's like, now it's like he's got a million grandchildren, and he's like, I think in his head, he's a typical grandfather, and is like, would I want my grandchildren watching that? And it's like, yeah, in today's world, you kind of have to do that, but to a point. Um, because like back in the day, we were somebody's grandchildren too. And we saw all the brutality and the bleeding and everything like that. And we're all still active wrestling fans. So I think it's like the more fantasy you make it, the more it doesn't make sense and the less entertaining it's going to be for your older audience. I mean, and I get that their prime audience is like, I think it's like 15 to like 30 or something like that. But at the same time, they have to realize they also have older people, older than 30, that watch it too. But yeah, I mean, I know it's hard. I mean, I've never ran a business, but I'm just going off of like a fan thinking and like what I would like to see. And most people that I talk to that are wrestling fans agree with me. So it's like, I don't know where they're coming up with some of this stuff. Like, I think a lot of the stuff they do for the fundraisers or the nonprofits are a good thing. Like the Be a Star thing, the whole bullying thing, or the Connor's Cure. Like they do a lot for kids, which I think is really good and makes their company look really good. Um, and I get that like the wrestlers are like, some of them are like role models, but then you have like it's kind of weird. Like they don't want to do a PG, more than PG view. So they don't want the blood. They don't want too much violence. But at the same time, they're going to have the bullying. You know what I mean? Like I think in today's day and age, the way bullying is such a problem, I think that makes it even worse than the blood and the violence. I mean, because you have like the games and shows that the kids watch, other shows that they watch have way more violence than the wrestling. I mean, at least it's like any other thing. I think it's, in a way, it's up to the parents to decide. You know what I mean? And for the parents to, and like, I think it's good that they let them know it's not real, like that WWE does, because it's not real, but they also need to know that in a way, these guys still get hurt. Like if they do a move wrong, because I know there's been a lot of times that kids have really gotten hurt because they're imitating what the wrestlers do because they think it's like anything else you see on TV and it's completely fake. Well, the whole story thing is fake, but they don't understand that what they do is not fake. Like they have to be trained to do what they do and not get hurt, like jump off a ladder. You know what I mean? So it's like I think they're almost blurring the lines because in one instance they want to be PG-13, but at the same time they kind of still want people to believe their storylines or people to like kids to like really believe in the wrestlers. So yeah, like I have kind of mixed feelings about where it is right now. I think it could be better and it should be better. Like I think it's like as soon as kayfabe died, it's like I think they just stopped all the really good storylines because that's right around the time they ended the Attitude Era. It was around that time. Shortly after that, I think. I think it went on a little bit longer, but they actually have a new series on the network called Ruthless Aggression. And that's what it's about, is when the Attitude Era was going on and when it was coming to an end. And the impact that, like, losing Steve Austin and The Rock and those guys that were in the Attitude Era, the impact that those guys leaving had on. Hello, Gary. Very good, thank you. Yeah, I was telling them earlier that I was in some pain yesterday, so I kind of just hung out in my recliner in the living room for most of the day yesterday, so I really wasn't on YouTube at all. Um, and I've been trying to work on my video app that I have because I'm having a problem uploading the videos. It seems to crash whenever I try to upload the video onto YouTube. And it's really weird because I was able to upload it. I uploaded the NXT Takeover Portland on Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday evening-ish, I when I went to do the Raw upload, it wouldn't do it. and it was like just a few hours apart. So I was like, huh? Yeah, and that's what I've been trying to do, like a little bit of a mix. Like I had Jimmy pull out the chair I'm sitting in now is a gravity chair. It's like a camping recliner chair. So I had Jimmy pull it out for when I do this because I can recline if I want to. Because sometimes sitting up in a regular chair with my knee hanging, it if it stays bent too long, it starts to hurt. Um, and they said that's just because it needs to like just change position because it's still new. So yeah, I've just been trying to take it easy and do my own thing. And so, how are you, Gary? How was your weekend? Oh no, I'm sorry. And that's hard when it's your kids. All right, South Carolina born, thank you for coming. I will see you next time, maybe. But yeah, it's hard when it's your kids because it's like you want to help them, but at the same time, you kind of, in a way, have to let them work their own stuff out. But I know it's hard, especially like if it's stuff that like you've done when you were a kid, so you know what it's like, and you want to tell them don't do that because of this or that. And it sucks that your car costs that much to fix. Those things always happen when you least expect it. Well, I'm glad you didn't too, Gary. I'm glad that you were able to walk away from the situation. Yeah, I know a few people that are in a similar situation. They're raising their grandkids because their kids just aren't able to, for one reason or another, whether it be drugs or they just don't want them, or you gotta look out for those grandkids, Gary. Just keep thinking of the grandkids when you want to do shit like that. As much as you want to, you're not going to be any good to them in prison. Yeah, when we lived in Nashville, we had a lot of the same problem. There were a lot of drugs, and like a lot of the kids were getting hooked on them, and it's everywhere right now. The whole opioid and the methamphetamines, the fentanyl, that's like everywhere now, and I don't like it's you wonder how it got so out of control so quickly. I know it's been going on for a while, but it seems like they've just deemed it a crisis now. I mean, I know there's so many deaths right now from overdoses that it's like completely outrageous the amount of people that are overdosing. And I think, in my opinion, some of the ways they're trying to battle it aren't the best ways. Like, I don't think you're helping someone. I mean, and again, this is my opinion. I don't think you're helping someone by making a safe place for them to shoot up. I don't think that's helping the problem. I think you're, in a way, contributing to the problem at that point because you're not trying to help them battle the issue. It's like they need help battling it, not help using it. Joseph Girl, are you still in the chat? I didn't see you say bye, so you may still be in the chat. That's all right, Gary. Oh, we've just been chatting about some of the current storylines, and we were talking about more old school wrestling stuff, like stuff we miss, and some of the wrestlers from old school that they're kind of bringing back, like Edge, like guys from the Attitude Era, and giving our guesses on who's gonna do what at Mania. Every now and then you need to rant, Gary. I know that. And that's why I always put wrestling and stuff when I write the description on my lives. I was saying, so I have the network, and part of what I was doing when I was just hanging out in my recliner in the living room is watching old episodes of Raw and WCW Monday Nitro. And I was really starting to get into it. I was watching like Nitro back in the mid to late 90s when like the Four Horsemen was still going on and the NWO, and like they brought in Roddy Piper, and we saw Larry Sabisco wrestle Scott Hall. I don't know if you ever really watched WCW or if you were just a WWF, WWE guy, but I know a lot of people used to watch both during the Monday Night Wars era. But yeah, so I get what you're saying because that's exactly what I've been doing. Yeah, Triple H did have some tough matches. And I was saying how I thought it would be cool if so I know back in NXT when like Charlotte Flair was in NXT, they had a four horsewomen group with Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Bailey, and Becky Lynch. And I was saying that I thought it would be cool if they did that in WWE, with like Charlotte Flair as the head. And it would be really cool if they brought Ric Flair in to be like their manager. Um, because I know like they had those four horsewomen, but also apparently Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, along with the two other girls that Shayna Baszler is with on NXT, um, also referred to themselves as the four horsewomen in MMA. Yes, I remember that too. So I thought I had said I thought it would be cool if they had, because they both had history. Hello, beautiful Lisa. Thank you for coming. I said that I thought it would be cool if they had the two groups reform in WWE, and they could have like a rivalry like they used to, like with the NWO and the Four Horsemen, or the Von Erichs and the Freebirds, like back in the old days. No, it's not the same anymore. Um, a lot of the older wrestlers, kids wrestle now, which is the Charlotte Flair thing. Um, like I just think they, in a way, they should go back and look at some of what they used to do. I know with, and this is what we were talking about too. In today's world, they can't use all of what they used to, but if they could get some new ideas and kind of change it up a little bit and just bring back some of the old stuff. Like, we don't really have any good feuds anymore. Yeah. Like, I think that because back then they had so many good feuds, and you didn't mind one group having four or five guys in it because there was another group that had just as many, and they had a rivalry, and it would last. Like, that's the thing today. Like, none of the storylines last. It's like within a couple of weeks they're done. And it's like, really? It was just starting to get good and it ended? Like, they started to do, I don't know if you remember when Brian Pillman went, he went to someone's house. Hello, Miss Southern Belle. How are you? Thank you for coming. But Brian Pillman went to someone's house. Yeah. Um, and like that was when he was like crazy. I think it might have been Austin's house. Um, and they started to do a little bit of that with current wrestlers. They have this guy called the Fiend, and he's almost like a Mankind Mick Foley type of guy. He has a dual personality. And one of his personalities wears a mask and is like a monster type of person. His other personality is a normal guy. Um, who has almost like a Pee Wee Herman scenario. Like they put him up on a show, on a little, it's called Fun Time Playhouse or something like that. Um, oh, that's cool. That must have been wicked cool. So they had the Fiend go to one of the other wrestlers' houses, and they were in a storyline for like 2 weeks. And then right after he goes in the house and he leaves something letting him know that they were there, that he was there, they like dropped it. And like they never revisited it. And I was like, really? Now that could have been a really good storyline. And all I could remember was the Brian Pillman thing. Or like when Randy Orton and Triple H were having their rivalry, Triple H went to Randy Orton's house. Yeah, I've heard that some of the old school wrestlers could really drink. Um, some of the interviews they have on the network, they talk about the old school. Um, yeah, that's who it was, Chris Benoit's house. Um, and they talk about like when they would go to the hotel rooms after their matches and they would drink and they would like have competitions of who could drink more. And but like I was disappointed that they didn't let the storyline, like they didn't build on it. It was like they just dropped it like right after he like left a doll in the guy's baby's crib. And I was just like they like lost that opportunity to have a really good storyline. Oh wow. Yeah, I saw actually The Undertaker on The Broken Skull, which is Steve Austin's, it's not a podcast, they have it on the network. Um but he was saying that apparently back in the day he was a drinker too. And like new guys, like the wrestlers that knew him would convince new guys to belly up next to the Undertaker and have a competition with him or try to get him to drink something, which they were like, it was never hard to get him to drink something because he would usually drink like, I think it was bourbon or something he would drink. And they were like, he could drink anybody under the table. And he told one story of, I think it was the Canadians were new and that's what they did with them. And he was really tired and really didn't want to drink. And I think it was, I forget who he said he was with, but it was a brand new guy. Um, and Undertaker had been deemed his chaperone type of person. So, like, he stayed with The Undertaker just to learn the ropes of, like, the road and things like that. So, that guy wanted to drink too. And The Undertaker was like, no, no, we really shouldn't. We should really just go to bed. And then they started teasing him, saying that he really couldn't drink. And that's why he didn't want to drink because he didn't want to embarrass himself. And Steve Austin was there And they were talking about it, and Steve Austin was like, yep, all us guys that have been working with you for years were laughing because we knew better. And they said, sure enough, they ended up closing the bar. The Undertaker dragged them up to their hotel room and continued drinking, bought a bunch more liquor, and him and his protege were the last two up. And he was like, and I had to wake him up. He was completely out of it, and the Undertaker was the only one that was still left standing. And the other guys were drinking beers most of the night, and he was drinking straight bourbon. And when they went up to the hotel room, that's when he started to get them to drink the hard stuff. And he was like, I just watched them all one by one pass out until I was the last one standing, and I basically had to carry the other guy back to the hotel, back to our room. But yeah, he was like, that was when like I was starting to try to I forget if it was he was sick that day, so he really didn't want to drink, but he had said that like he had deemed that he wasn't going to drink that night. Whether it had been that he was on the road the whole night the previous night and went straight to his match, so he really hadn't slept, or if he was sick. It was something like that. And all the older guys got a laugh out of it because he was the last one standing. And the newer guys were talking about how he just didn't want to drink because he was a goody two shoes or something. Like they'd said that like the Triple H doesn't drink on a regular basis, but will sit and have a beer with them, or would sit and have a beer with them when they were on the road. But like he would just have one, and that was it. He wouldn't drink any more than that one because he wasn't a big drinker. He didn't like drinking. But they were saying that most of the time that's what they did, just because they would travel all night, go to the show, and then be wired when they got out of the show, but they had to sleep because they had to get up early the next morning and hit the road again. So they would drink when they got back to the hotel just to unwind and so that they could sleep that night. And apparently that's how a lot of them ended up doing the competitions. Yeah, I heard that too. Yep. And that's like he talked about his match at Mania when when Brock Lesnar broke the streak. Um I think I had said this in the last stream that I had learned I had never knew this because they never made it public. But apparently he was in the hospital. The Undertaker was in the hospital for like 2 or 3 days after, because apparently he got a really bad concussion during the match. And he was like, he's like, he had complete memory loss, couldn't even remember who he was or who Michelle was, his wife. And he was like, the nurses and doctors kept coming in asking me who I was, where I was, who my wife was. He was like, and I couldn't answer them. And he was getting mad at Michelle because he would say, all right, you got to help me out here. And she was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. You have to come up with this yourself. Yeah, so, and he, in the Broken Skull episode, he had said that he doesn't blame Brock because it wasn't something Brock did on purpose. Um, and he had said that even all the times that he went back and watched the match, he couldn't pinpoint any one point where it happened. He was like that's he couldn't remember most of the match, he said even. So he was basically on like autopilot in everything that he was doing during the match. And he had said to this day he doesn't remember that night all these years later. Oh, Nora, thank you. Anthony, thank you. I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Capola, Junction, Gaffa. Thank you. Dunk Ink Custom, thank you. Gary, thank you. Yes, Sonora Reed. My sister Donna, thank you. Gary, it's almost like our Sunday tradition because Nora usually goes live on Sunday nights too. So he's usually nice enough to read me when he gets my stuff, when he gets my things. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Love you all. Thanks again, Nora. Yeah, it is cool. You too, sis. Thank you. Love you, Nora. Thank you. But yeah, it's always nice when you get a read. When we were on Jimmy's live stream Thursday night, we rated someone. Um, I think she had like 3 people in the chat, and she was like really upset because there was only like 3 people watching, and so it always uplifts. Like she was so happy about it, she cried and came into his live stream later and thanked us all for going over. So yeah, it's always nice the support that everybody has for each other. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I mean, if I ran the schedule that some of the wrestlers run, I would probably drink every night too, just to, you'd have to, just to get out of your own head. I mean, because they're either driving or they're wrestling. I mean, I know it's a lot better. They say it's a lot better now than it used to be because they have more days off than they used to, but it's still a heavy schedule. Yeah, I think so. I think it's like, I think they have 1 or 2 days off a week, something like that. Especially like the main roster guys, like the mid level card ones may not be so bad, because they're not used at every show. But like I was saying earlier, I've heard that they're, whether they wrestle or not, they're expected to be at all the shows and be ready to wrestle in case something happens or in case somebody doesn't show and they have to change the card. I don't know if that's across the board. Right, like planes or even the ones like I know the Big Show doesn't fly. He bought a bus because he couldn't fit in the plane seats, and a regular, like he had to buy like custom made bus for him because he's so big. So he said it was worth his comfort to drive from one show to the other. And I know that like some of the other ones, like they have on the network, they have a show called Ride Along, and that's what it is wrestlers that ride together from one show to the other. It's basically their trip, and they like follow them on a map from one place to the other. That's another one of the shows that I watch on the network. Yep, yep. I mean, and two, a lot of times it's probably depending on how much they make, it's cheaper for them to split a rent the cost of a rental car than it is to buy a plane ticket, and they take turns driving. Like it's funny. One of the ones that I watched was the WrestleMania that Trish Stratus and um, Lita were in the Royal Rumble. It might have been the yeah, it was either the women's pay per view or the first women's Royal Rumble. So the ride along they did was with them two. And it was funny because they made so many pit stops. Like they went to a a fair with like rides and stuff, and they were saying how they were going to be late and they weren't going to be able to make the meeting meeting before the show, and they were like coming up with excuses with each other on camera and like saying like what they were going to say, and they had one of the writers calling them trying to find out where they were, why they weren't there yet. But it's kind of funny like to see them almost out of their character, like they're cut like it's just them being themselves. They still use their persona names, but like they're kind of out of character. And they had a lot of them. My one of my favorites was the I think it was the when ECW raided WWE, when Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon bought ECW, so they had the um, pay per view where they had the WWE team against the ECW team, and it was Undertaker, The Rock, Kurt Angle, Kane, and Steve Austin. And at one point, they were in the locker room and they were getting their match plan together. And at one point, The Rock said something like, I think, and Kane butted in and was like, it doesn't matter what you think. And it was back when like Kane really didn't talk. Like it was the original Kane when he like it was like when he first started talking. So that's like one of my favorite ones. I thought it was freaking hilarious. hmm I remember that one. Well, like when Kurt Angle came in the arena with the milk truck because Steve Austin had sprayed them all down with beer. So he came in and sprayed them all down with milk with the milk truck. But yeah, some of the Stone Colds and Vince McMahon ones were the best. Those and the DX ones were usually funny. No, because that was when um, Hulk Hogan was, or I think that was when Hulk Hogan was in WCW. He was already gone. This was like back in the Attitude Era. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was when they had the pay-per-view of the war between ECW and WWE. Like it was all ECW guys against WWE, and they had like almost like Survivor Series teams. So like the WWE one was The Rock, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, and Kane. And they went against like a ECW team. But yeah, there was some funny moments too with Kane. I think there was one with the Undertaker like later. I mean with Hulk Hogan later or before. I think when Kane first came out, I think he was with Hulk Hogan on a team. But yeah, some of the stuff they did back then was funny. Like not all of it was violent. That's why I don't get why they can't reuse some of it, like or just get some ideas from it, because it was seemed like it was so much more interesting than what they have. Some of the stuff they have going on now. Yep, The Rock would make fun of anybody. It was hilarious. He was really funny. He had some of the more funnier moments. Like he's always in the ones, the YouTube funny moments ones. It's usually always got The Rock in it somehow. Or like the Mick Foley Rock This Is Your Life when they did the Rock and Sock connection. Yep. Or like when was it Yeah, the Big Show when he would go, "Ah," and he would make like a funny face and scream when when Big Show first came. Yeah, they were some of the good old days. Sometimes I really miss them. Like I said, I wish they would bring back some of the storylines. That's one of the reasons why I like doing this, because it's like you can reminisce about what you remember, and some people might remember stuff you don't remember until they talk about it, and then you're like, oh yeah. The older we get, Gary, the more good old days we have, I guess. Yeah. Like I said, I still watch it. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to, but I think I just watch it just to watch it sometimes. But yeah, it's definitely not like it was. All right. I think I might end this. It's been about 2.5 hours. Yeah. And that's why I think, like I was saying, everybody gets so offended over everything, and half of the crap that they had on back then for anything, just regular TV, they could never use now because everybody takes everything too serious. Nobody can laugh at anything no more. Like back in the day, people could laugh at themselves, but nobody does that anymore. Everybody's always too offended over something, over anything. I will, Gary. Love you. Thanks for your support. Everybody else in chat, I will see you guys later. Hopefully, I will figure out my video app soon and we'll be able to do some videos. If I can't, I'll probably do the same thing, like on a Sunday, just do a live stream of the week in wrestling, so that way we can all get together and talk about the week and what happened. Um, but other than that, I will see you guys later. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone, for coming.